Hello guys and gals, and welcome to Exalted Fashion. Play something that's not Phoenix Wright. I'm going to be playing the YAWHG, and I'll get into why I'm playing the YAWHG in a second. It's a real short game. I'm going to finish it in this video, although it's different every time you play it. So, I'll explain it as we go, but there are a lot of things I need to talk about. And right off the bat, we need to pick two people and pick Orange Man and Red Lady. And then we'll get started. There's a lot of writing, very witty writing, that I will be, doing. So here we go. The YAWHG will be here in 6 weeks, and no one expects it. Not a one of us. We just keep on living our lives, week by week, unaware. Okay, so here's how this works. You have to choose a place to go, and each place you go will affect your stats in a negative or positive way. And you have 6 weeks to build your stats up for the ending, I'll say. I don't want to give it away, unless you already know. In which case, you already know. So, with Red Lady, I'll go to the forest, alright. You spend the week hunting various defenseless critters. You gain 2 finesse and sell pelts for 1 wealth. One day during your forest excursions, you stumble onto a swarm of rats. At first, you jump backwards in shock, but then you start to hear them conversing with one another. They call you over. "Excuse me, miss," they say in a high-pitched voice. "Do you think you might be able to help us out with something? You see, we're trying to elect our leader, but it seems the votes are completely tied." Sorry about that. "We're trying to decide between Seedpaw the Vengeful and Blightooth the Wise," says the rat. Seedpaw steps forward. "If you vote for me, the rats will have a powerful leader, one who isn't afraid to take our fight to the enemy." Blightooth steps up. "If you vote for me, good miss, I will lead these rats to an age of enlightenment. Which rat do you choose?" "Well, I'll choose Blightooth the Wise." Half of the rats roar with tiny applause. Seedpaw bows his head and walks back into the mass of rats. Blightooth climbs up on your shoulder and whispers ancient secrets into your ear as thanks. In 1 mind and 1 magic. Okay, as for Phoenix Wright, here's what happened. I had all of Case 2 and all of Case 3 recorded, and I was going to upload it, but Camtasia decided to just, tell me to screw off pretty much, and I just lost it all. So I have to reload. I had to start the game over. I had to play through all of Case 1, and I'm going to start recording Case 2 with something that's not Camtasia, like right after this. Something else I want to talk about. I uploaded that cover of Cinders, maybe a couple days ago, and it got like 140 views, and that's awesome. I might be tag it at the end of the video. Yeah, I tweeted it to Matt and Kim, and they retweeted it, and people saw it, and they thought it was good. And I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. So I'll just, thank people for that. Maybe this will get a few views too. Anyway, let's continue on and go to the slums, because I've been here long enough. I'm gonna pickpocket because, I'm a scumbag. You spend the week performing petty theft. You gain 1 wealth and 2 finesse. One day while wandering the slums, you notice that the stones that used to line the road seem to have a certain pattern to them. You don't manage to figure out the mystery, but you still feel pretty smart for noticing the patterns. You gain 1 mind. I guess I wasn't, smart enough to solve the mystery, but I was smart enough to notice it. They say the last time it came, the YAWHG devoured houses whole, stole lives, tore families and family members apart. But that was so very long ago. Alright, now week 2, we just have to, do it again. So I say this time we'll get Red Lady to the tavern and bartend. You spend the week serving up drinks at the tavern. You earn 1 wealth in tips and gain 2 charm. One day, the fortune teller sets up at one of the tavern's tables. He offers you to read your fortune for a small sum. No. The rest of the day you watch the fortune teller from afar as she showers each of her customers with promises of love and wealth. You feel like skipping out was a good choice. You gain 1 mind. Good for me. I'm gonna go to the palace and attend the ball. You spend the week attending fancy gatherings. Look at that picture. He looks like he's not a very good dancer. He's like... looks like he's just sort of like swinging his arms around. Gain 2 charm and 1 finesse. One day the king approaches you. Excuse me, but you look like someone I could confide in, he says. I really want a prince to take over the throne, but the queen and I aren't exactly active in the bedroom. He blushes a little. Do you have any advice on how I could romance the queen, so to speak? Teach the king my ways and admit that I don't know how to help. I'm gonna teach him my ways. You spend hours drawing a bunch of diagrams and going through scenarios with the king. Okay. By the end of it, he's just as charming as you are. He thanks you and hands you a large sack of coins as a reward. Gain 3 wealth. Later that night, you get this sinking feeling that you may have actually made things worse. Oh well. It was on us in a heartbeat, so the stories go. The earth shook and the air went still. The music gets more ominous week by week. Nice touch. And you go to the gardens and meditate on the things to come. Spend a week in deep meditation. Gain 1 magic and 2 mind. One day you come across an elderly man snoozing on the grass. You there, young person. He waves you over. I'm having an awful time trying to nap in the bright sun. You mind giving me some shade? Sure. Ages seem to pass as you stand in the hot sun, the wizened old man sleeping peacefully in your shadow. The sun is sweltering, and after some hours you begin to feel faint. Gradually, everything grows dark. When you awaken, it is evening in the garden, and an ancient gnarled tree stands where the old man was sleeping. For witnessing this miraculous event, you gain 1 magic. Nice. I'm gonna go to the arena with Orange Man. Gonna bet on a fight. You spend the week placing bets on your favorite fighters. You gain 1 wealth. During a match, another warrior's weapon is knocked from their grasp. You barely manage to avoid it. With a sickening crunch, it destroys the knee of a nearby bystander. He accuses you of causing him harm by not stopping the flying weapon. He takes you to court. Where's Phoenix right when you need him? I'm gonna offer to settle. You settle out of court and lose 3 wealth. Okay. And then the world was a howling fury. Chaos. Screaming. The sound of all we knew being pulled in half. Alright, time for week 4. The music continues to get more and more ominous. Nothing, particularly bad has happened. Things can get incredibly bad here. I'm gonna go to the slums and fight crime. I hear people have been pickpocketing now recently. You spend the week outsmarting and beating up criminals. Look like your Little Red Riding Hood. Gain 1 mind, 1 physique, and 1 finesse. One night, a small child approaches you with his hands cupped and outstretched towards you. He doesn't say anything, but he looks up at you with wide eyes, waiting expectantly. I'll give him some coin. I mean, I'm out here doing good. I might as well give the kid some money. You toss him a sack of coins. You lose 1 wealth. He thanks you and walks away. The next night, you recognize him on the street. You spot him eating what looks like a fresh loaf of bread. He sees you and smiles. You feel good about yourself. You gain 1 physique, 1 finesse, 1 mind, 1 charm, 1 magic, and that's it. Well, not that's it. That was a lot. And I guess feeling good about yourself then does wonders to your stats. I'm gonna look at my stats real quick. Not bad. Stats will totally come in. Well, they come into play all the time, but I'm gonna go and chop wood. You spend the week cutting down trees for the village. Gain 2 physique and earn yourself 1 wealth. One day you stumble upon a tall, nicely trimmed hedge in the middle of the woods. You sit and eat your lunch in front of the hedge, wondering what exactly it's doing out in the woods. Suddenly, an enormous hand erupts from the foliage. Do I dodge or punch? I feel like I'm probably better off trying to dodge it. My reflexes allow you to duck just out of its grasp. You run faster than you ever have in your life. You gain 2 physique. Yeah, it would have gotten really bad if I let that thing grab me. When it arrives this time, how will we fare? Will we once more rebuild, move on, be strong? Or have we forgotten? I hope we didn't forget. I forget a lot of things. I'm going to go to the alchemy tower. Brew potion. You spend the week experimenting with different potion brews. You gain 2 magic and 1 mind. One day, all the alchemists decide to take a break from work and throw a cantrip party. That's like lame magic spells. One alchemist waves his hand and produces confetti in front of him. Another spawns a seemingly endless number of doves from his sleeves. Then all the alchemists turn to you and see what you can do. So are alchemists like magicians now? I'm gonna do a complex trick and show these guys up. With a snap of my fingers, it brings the chair to life. You sit atop of it and ride around it in the room. Everyone else is quite impressed. Gain 2 charm. I'm gonna go to the tavern and drink. Spend the entire week getting wasted. That sentence seems like not, seems misplaced in this game. Whatever. Gain 2 charm and 1 physique. Once again, sorry about that. Let's move on. One day while in the tavern, a heated argument erupts between 2 patrons. Soon enough, fists start flying everywhere, and everybody seems to join in on the violence. Do we join the fray or break up the fight? Let's beat some ass. Let's do it. You jump into the thick of the fight and let loose some pent-up rage and on some unsuspecting patrons. You gain 1 physique from all that exertion. The YAWHG. It's almost here. Almost. Alright, this is the final week. Nothing particularly eventful has happened. I'm a little disappointed, but we'll see. Last week always, something big can always happen in the last week. Let's clean up. You spend the week steeling your mind against the horrors of the hospital, making sure it's as clean as can be. You gain 1 mind, 1 physique, and earn 1 wealth. One day, the bloodletting leeches somehow escape from their containers. Leeches start flooding into the hallway. There are people screaming everywhere as the leeches slither towards them. "Somebody do something," yells one of the doctors. "Either zap the leeches with magic or use myself as bait." I'm gonna zap the leeches with magic. You wave your hand, unleashing a wave of magic to disintegrate the leeches. The leeches all poof into dust. You save the hospital with your quick thinking. You gain 1 mind. Excellent. Let's go to the gardens and landscape. You meditate? Or you spend the week maintaining the plants in the royal garden. I didn't meditate at all. I made a sweet swan. You gain 1 finesse, 1 physique, and earn yourself 1 wealth. One day on your way home from the park, you come across a golden ring in the grass. If I know anything about golden rings, you gotta wear them. Then you turn invisible. Upon placing the ring on your finger, I don't turn invisible. Orange glowing markings appear on the outside of the band. They still could be the 1 ring. The markings unravel themselves from the ring and swirl in front of you. They form into what appears to be a fully armored ghost radiating a beautiful orange light. I think it's a sun, bro. The ghost turns to you and nods before walking away. The ring looks good on you. Gain 1 charm. Well, okay then. The storm arrives in the night. By the morning it still rages. For 3 full days the tempest puts us to a grinder. Drowns us, crushes us, ruins us. But then it ends. We see the graveyard our home has become. Our home. Does anything yet live? Is it, are we, past saving? And now we have to know our role and shut our mouths, or the rock's gonna beat our ass. But let's look at our stats. Each deck corresponds to a different role. I have quite high mind as this red lady, and you know, doctors are pretty smart. So let's go for that. You take it upon yourself to help the sick and injured from the YAWHG. You're able to fix up most of the patients in no time at all. This means there are more people to help with rebuilding the town. This helps the survival effort considerably. And my physique is quite high, so let's be the builder. You take it upon yourself to help rebuild the town by hand. You rebuild homes at breakneck speed, impressing the rest of the survivors. This helps the rebuilding effort significantly. And at this point, we see what ending the town gets. We can get the bad ending, the medium ending, or the good ending, but each character gets their own specific ending. And so, we set about our task, once more living our lives. This time in a way we might never have expected or even wanted. But in the end, we flourished. Towns once wrecked and ravaged rose towards the sky. Trees again took root, then blossomed. We all blossomed. And though it took a long while, and though it took a lot from us, our future is bright. Should the YAWHG ever return, we will be ready. Alright, so we got the good ending. I've never gotten the good ending on my own before. I've only gotten the good ending with 3 or more people, and normally I don't play on my own. So here's the red lady's ending. After the town is rebuilt, you become the leader of a hunting party. You become the town's main supplier of game and meat for furs. You become extremely adept at killing defenseless animals. That sounds terrible. One day you spot a glowing blue fox in the woods. Upon seeing you, it cackles and runs off. You pursue it for what feels like hours, but to no avail. Capturing a laughing blue fox becomes an obsession for you. You spend every moment thinking of its laugh, even while you sleep. It cackles. Its cackle feels as if it's burned into your brain. Well, it didn't end too well for Red Lady, but she's fine. The YAWHG traumatized you deeply. Despite everything being okay now, something in you snapped. Maybe it was witnessing a baby floating face down in the water. Maybe it was when you found a man skewered on a fence, still squirming slightly, his eyes an empty void. Perhaps it was when you saw a group of kids that were trapped in the school had resorted to eating their rotting teacher's corpse. Whatever it was, you can't help but drink. You drink so much, you're not entirely sure what's real and what's an illusion. One day you look into a mirror, and your eyes are empty, hollow. Wow, both my characters got bad endings, but I got the good ending for the town. I've never seen that before. Well, that's the YAWHG. I'm slightly depressed. The first time I get the good ending on my own, my characters are just, the lives are wrecks. Well, that was the YAWHG. It was short and sweet, and that's only one way of many, many, many that it could have gone. And I hear that there's an update coming with more options. Unless that already happened, in which case, you know, it happened. And anyway, this is probably going to go up on a Tuesday. I'm going to break my own code and put this up on a Tuesday. That's just because I didn't host any Phoenix Wright yesterday. But I'm going to record 2 episodes of Phoenix Wright right after this, so I can at least have something for the rest of the week. Alright, this is Exalted Fashion signing off, and I'll see you folks later.